everyone. Happy New Year to all of you. Welcome to kind of an exciting vlog that has taken me weeks to pull together because I'm learning to use a new video editing software and there have been quite a few hiccups. Also, moving my studio and my art supplies has been quite time consuming, which is why I put it off for probably 2 years, but definitely for a year. You can see my studio was just absolutely crammed full and ridiculous, and yes, it was absolutely a hoarding situation because I did not know where anything was, and there are things in there that I had forgotten and probably things that I never even had gone through that we took from older houses when we were trying to save things from going in the dumpster. So it had just become out of control. And here's my grandma's house, which has been empty for over 6 years and is going to come down this winter. And so because we learned that it was going to be pushed down, we've spent the last few months salvaging as many pieces of it as we thought we could use and store. And so I'm so fortunate that we were closing in 2 exterior porches, like a double porch, and creating a new covered porch on the front of our house. And we thought we'd take these small little porch rooms that we're going to be adding to the house, and I'm going to have an art room or a little mini studio, and I'm going to have a plant room upstairs. And so I thought, well, I can use these pieces of my grandma's house. Actually, the trim came out of this room, which was the piano room, which you can see, and then the flooring in my new art room is her bedroom floor, which you wouldn't know this was a bedroom, but this was her bedroom, and it had a beautiful kind of red pine wood floor. And so we saved that, and I probably used about half of it, or maybe not even. This is a very narrow room. So this is my new space. We had a little bit of vintage beadboard for this one wall that I'm painting in this part of the video. We took that out of a house that Dave's mom just moved into. So we had some vintage beadboard, and then we were not able to source. It's pretty popular right now, so it's harder to find vintage stuff than it used to be. So we went ahead and just used kind of beadboard look paneling for the ceiling and the rest of it. So you can see Pip has kind of designated himself my ladder kitty, and he is in charge of my ladder, and he watches out for the ladder, and he does not let the ladder out of his sight. And so in fact, he took that job so seriously that he slept on the ladder at night. He was absolutely obsessed. He did a great job being my ladder kitty, and he didn't get in my paint at all. He did make moving the ladder a little more difficult, but since he was enjoying it so much, I decided, is a small price to pay. So I probably spent 2 weeks really hunting for the perfect pink color. I don't know if it's maybe I didn't end up with the perfect pink color, but I finally found one that I thought I was pretty pleased with and could live with. I have made so many poor paint color choices in the past that I really, really worked at looking at this one in all different lights, and especially finding one that was not garish at night in artificial lighting, which is, I hate that. I'm not a person who does well after dark anyway. Emotions just get higher for me, and so I don't like anything that is going to be kind of disturbing or kind of makes me feel less relaxed. So I want my paint colors to be peaceful after dark. That's my first criteria when I'm judging a paint color. So anyway, I finally did find the perfect pink. It was called Odessa Pink, and it is a Benjamin Moore color, but I did have it color matched at Home Depot because I just really prefer bare paint. Having my grandma's woodwork in this room has made it, in fact, I call it oftentimes grandma's room, but it is so much like being in her house. I didn't imagine how much it would mean to me and how beautiful it would be. I was so happy the day I had I had all the walls painted, I had the windows painted enough that we could move in. The most exciting thing was my workbench, which I got last summer, and I've been keeping and praying that it would fit. Not praying, but really hoping that our measurements were correct, because we had about an inch to spare. So it was going to be a squeaker, and we did. We moved the workbench and it just fit. And then I had bookshelves and some kind of old, I think they're drawers from someone's like shop, more like a mechanic shop, or maybe not a mechanic shop, but a carpenter shop, something sort of industrial. I have a little kind of secretary top, and then I will have on the back side of the studio, which isn't finished, I will have some cabinets with glass fronts, which I hope I can then transfer all of those things that were on open shelves and driving me crazy can be behind glass, where my cats cannot steal them, knock them down, chew them. Like, it's like a constant battle, and that was part of why I didn't like to use my old studio, is that the cats had decided it was just a place to get into and make mischief. So anyway, it's been so fun to set up this studio space, or this little art space. Probably, eventually I will have it to the ceiling, but I feel okay about that because I do love all my things, but I needed a place where at the end of the day I could go out and not feel like I was looking at all of that stuff and kind of being stimulated by seeing it. And in my kitchen, there was like no escape from it, and the kitchen could never be tidied up at the end of the day. And so when it's going to be in the studio that I can walk out of at a certain point and not really have to look in, I think that's going to make it so much nicer. And the crazy thing is that now this is my studio after I have taken everything out that I use regularly, and you probably cannot even tell the difference from the first video, which had tons of stuff in it, and that's what's really crazy, is like it had so much in it that I have taken out like a room's full of stuff, and you still can't tell the difference, which is embarrassing to me. But sometimes our life just gets out of control, and mine had in several areas, and so I'm just working at taking some of that kind of control back, not turning into a control freak, but I mean, just sometimes we do have to it's kind of like setting boundaries. Like, that had just gotten pushed way beyond what I could handle. The amount of stuff that I could really keep track of and be a responsible steward of. So it's okay sometimes to say that's too much, and just I've got to have things more in control. But the way I can tell that the studio is less full is like it actually feels less oppressive when I go in there. Like, there was just an actual feeling of like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff in this room, and it's like bearing down or weighing down. Like, it just felt like, oh, this room is full, like the atmosphere was just close in there, and now it feels lighter. But I will keep working in that room, and I'm gonna get it to a point where it's really not kooky and crazy and just stuff all over the place. But while I've been cleaning it out, I've found all kinds of things that I had forgotten about, including this little house that I never quite finished. So I went ahead and I finished the floor in there, which I usually do in my paper mache houses, which this one is. I just use pieces of fiberboard for the floor, and then I use India ink to give them whatever stain or color I want. And then I found these little, a kind of a little set of wooden dollhouse furniture. So I thought I would paint a little table. Now I probably should have gone, because this little house is very pink and pale. In fact, everything I've done the last few months is kind of this pink and maroon, and that's just the palette I've been drawn to. And that ended up being the palette of my new art room too. So art imitating life and life imitating art. It is very true, at least in my life. But I thought I'd paint this little table and kind of a folk motif with some little bluebirds. And I originally thought, I should do like something pink and red. But I was just not feeling that on this day or at that moment I wanted to do something blue. So it doesn't go great in my little house, and really I think it's a little bit too large for this house, but I'm using it today. And the point is like that I'm making and just allowing myself a little bit of downtime and time to adjust to my new studio and just not feel like I need to be absolutely productive and drive myself so hard all the time. So we all need to give ourselves a little bit of space and grace sometimes. Now, as I've been going through my studio, I mentioned I'm finding things that I'd forgotten about or, had not finished, and I found some tiny seed packets from a few years ago. I used to make those, or I made those for several years. I love making tiny seed packets, and I haven't done it for a little while. And so when I ran across several, I thought, oh, that's really cool, I should make some. And then I thought, no, wait a minute. Wait a minute, you already have these made, because I used to sell them just, as the little originals. But you have these made already. Maybe you could just offer these as like a digital download or printable. Sorry, what you hear is my cat Pip. I don't know what he's doing behind me, but sounds like it will be something that I need to clean up in a minute. But anyway, I said, okay, I can do these as PDFs, and I can also use these vintage seed packets. I have a couple that are really precious to me. One is from my sister, and one, the petunia one, I found in my grandma's house. And then I also have, if you've watched my other videos, especially the ones about what we found in the attic of an old house and things like that, I have many, 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 many old letters from a family whose house we cleaned out, not last fall, but the fall before. And I thought, well, I can scan in a few of those and just make a little printable sheet where there would be, there are 4 little seed packet designs that I drew and painted, and then there are the 2 vintage ones, and then there are 3, oh my goodness, I don't know what my cat is doing. There are 3, I think he has crawled in the rabbit's bag of hay. So there are 3 vintage letters that I scanned into, and so I was just, my intention or what my thought was that these would work for dollhouse and miniature settings. I made them there are 3 options for each design for sizes, so I did like small, medium, large. The small, I would have to say, is quite small. It may be difficult for some of you to work with. It may be too fiddly, so hopefully the largest size is manageable for most of you. And you just, I just made them so that you cut around the outline, fold them in half, and glue them, and they look like they have a front and a back. So my thought with that was, they would just be little props for your dollhouse and miniature settings. And I also think that they might be something you could use for Valentine's, or I don't know. You guys probably will have other ideas too. You usually let me know when that you have some cool idea for something that never came into my brain. So go ahead and leave in the comments. So here we have a little mouse from several years ago. I found her in the studio, so she's been pulled out of her dark little corner and given a new house and a table, and we'll see what else we put in her house. But for right now, she's got some seed packets and she's thinking about spring, and I thought I would pull her out just because I thought she deserved to have a little attention and be appreciated, but also so many of you have asked for a make-along that teaches how to do an animal with legs and tails, and some people have asked for a mouse and other people have asked for a cat or whatever, sheep, donkey. But I think probably I'll start with a mouse, and that will give you an idea of how to navigate legs and things, appendages with spun cotton, because it's a little bit of a learning curve. So I'll be working on that, hopefully coming in the next week or month. We'll just see. And in the meantime, it continues to snow, and it's going to be very, very bitterly cold. So we're doing a lot of preparation to make sure that the animals are okay, do our best to make sure that they're okay. And I just want to thank you for watching today. Hope that it was fun to see some of this. I hope maybe some of you can use these little seed packets. This little guinea pig, I thought, had the funniest expression, so I thought that's kind of what I look like when I go to order one packet of poppy seeds and end up with 25 bizarre things in my cart that I've never raised before. But anyway, you can find the printables on the website. Thank you for being with me today. I'm wishing you happy making, and I will see you soon. And here's a little extra for those of you who enjoy seeing the Sweet Haven animals. Take care. Bye-bye.